uncertainty or Gharar contracts. Gharar is variously defined in English as uncertainty or deceptive uncertainty. Gharar in Islam refers to any transaction or probable objects whose existence or description are not certain due to the lack of information and knowledge. Ibn Taymiyyah writes that gharar exists in a contract when risk-taking is combined with the devouring of the property of one party by the other. There are two ways to interpret gharar. First, it applies exclusively to situations of doubtfulness or uncertainty, as in the case of knowing whether something will take place or not. It applies to the unknown. Thus, according to Ibn Hazm, gharar in sale occurs when the purchaser does not know what he has bought and the seller does not know what he has sold. The combination of these two cases is always taken as gharar. Evidence against gharar comes from the Al-Quran and the Hadith saying of Prophet Muhammad. In one Hadith, Ibn al-Mu'ayyaf reported that the Prophet prohibited a sale that was full of Prophet of Allah, a man comes to me and asks me to sell him what is not with me, so I sell him what he wants, and then buy the goods for him in the market and deliver. Example of gharar. Gharar includes selling: number one, non-fungible assets such as homes one does not own; second, fish in the sea; third, birds in the sky; four, a runaway animal; five, unripened fruit on the tree. Gharar in the absence of contract. Two sales in one means that a single contract relates to two sales.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Islamic Finance. Today we are discussing second major prohibition in Islam, and that is the prohibition of gharar. And just like when we talk about riba, this is one of those key prohibitions, and it is so relevant. We will see later on that we really need to a little bit study different phases of gharar as well. So before we go into this particular one, anyone know what gharar is like? How do we translate that word?
Would we say that gharar means deceit, to deceive someone?
So usually we have that, isn't it? We have that element of the deception, and we will see what other derivatives of this are, how it comes through, whether it's uncertainty or similar. Now, why and how is this prohibited? As we know from Prophet ﷺ, who told us that Abu Hurairah stated that the Prophet, peace be upon him, forbade selling by way of tossing stones to settle a sale and sale of gharar. Okay, so what is this? Let's analyze what this means. So first, what does the word mean? We say this word is differently translated, and we will look at some of the scholarly definition. But normally it refers to some sort of uncertainty, hazard, chance, risk, delusion, deception, danger, peril. It has all of these connotations. Okay, it is making someone believe something that is false or vain, something that is not true. And it is putting somebody in dangerous position due to these deceptions. Now, on the outside, it looks very attractive. Okay? However, reality is much different. Reality of it is much different. So, for instance, we say traditionally this is translated, like most of the time you'll see either uncertainty plus those other words we mentioned, or excessive uncertainty. And it is quite sophisticated concept. We see it in the many of the contracts that we are going to analyze. So some of the scholarly definitions that we see, different scholars give a different flavor and the angle. So some say that consequences of it are hidden, or some might say nature and the consequences are hidden, where the possibility of the one that you don't want, one that is less desirable, is more likely to happen. Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah said that, for instance, Gharar is where those consequences are unknown as opposed to the hidden, while Ibn Qayyim said that Gharar is that which is underivable, whether it exists or not. So there are different kind of angles of looking at it. We will put it in one sort of framework when we look at examples, because sometimes examples give us a good flavor, good taste for what it is. So other scholars say Gharar is where the seller does not know what has been sold and the buyer does not know what he was bought. Gharar is a sale in any contract which incorporates risk which affects one or more of the parties and may result in a loss. It's similar to gambling. And finally, combining both of these angles is that you could say both aspects are not known and the outcome is also unknown. So these are all flavors. Now let's look what this really means in real life. Okay, so this will help us understand. For instance, you are making a contract. Okay. We know Prophet ﷺ told us, don't go and intercept traders outside of the city and conduct the sale there. Remember that? So yes. It is not allowed, if I'm in the city, if this is a city and this is a market, okay, so you go here and somebody bringing the goods and you start trading here. It's not allowed. Why?
Because what can happen is if you trade outside, you can buy out all the stock and raise up the price in the market. So you go to this farmer and you say, you know what? It is really $10 in the market. Why you bother going down? I will take it. I will give you $10 and I will go and sell it in the market. Maybe I'll give you 9, so it saves you from going, and I make a little bit of profit. Where in reality, maybe in the market is 15, 20. The fact this guy here has no clue what's happening in the market. He is ignorant of the reality. Okay? And this one is going and trying to take advantage of him not knowing what is reality. So this is trying to profit from ignorance, and there isn't real transparency. So whether it's a contract or a sale where there is element of ignorance or lack of transparency, what we see here happening is deception. And uncertainty, because I don't know, am I getting the good deal or not? Even if I'm getting the good deal, I'm thinking, what are you doing here? Let me go into the market. Okay, so if this is happening, this is something that is not prohibited, that is not right. Deception in general. Once the Prophet ﷺ was in Medina, passing by the shop, and the shop owner was selling some grains. And he ﷺ put his hand into the grains. And he felt some wetness down. If you sell a grains, if you have a basket of grains, and you put your hand and you feel this is wet, what that's going to do with this basket of grains?
Make it heavy.
Make it heavy. It's going to be more heavy. It's a moisture. Plus, this being wet, this will spoil more quickly. It will go off. This is already damaged. You put it in the water. So what did this guy do? He put dry on the surface. So where is deception? He's telling us all of it is like this on the top. So the Prophet ﷺ said, why didn't you put this wet on the top so we know? Okay? And he said, whoever deceives us is not one of us. So this is something, again, showing us deception. Selling what you do not have, something that is not in your possession. We mentioned buying, for example, something, birds in the sky. This is your bird. $10, please. And I'll go catch it. You have to have it, catch it, and then you sell it. Now, only exception in this is type of a product like salam and istisna, and we will talk about it, which is when you have, for example, you go to the farmer and they are growing, for example, dates or anything, and you give them money now, and they will give you produce later. So this is to help the farmers, and this is something that was done, and it is very important, and this is exception to normal rule, that and there are some rules about this anyway. Whenever you have a prices that are not specified, delivery, dates, outcome, quality, quantity, even complexity in the contracts. If you have a contract that is so complex, nobody can understand. Like we mentioned during the global financial crisis, you remember those when they put a whole debt for mortgages in one bundle, and we said this is called CDO, collateralized debt obligation. When they bundle this and give it a AAA rating, you know, there is maybe 50 people in the world who can understand these contracts. So even the sophisticated investor couldn't figure out what's going on underneath. Forget it was junk and toxic asset. They didn't understand, and there is a joke if you go and watch Michael Moore documentary about capitalism. He interviewed some of these Wall Street guys. He said, explain me derivatives, explain me this, and then he shows just a chunk of mathematical formula behind it. So one of these guys, he said, look, let me tell you, you know, the way we do this is really for all of these blah, blah, blah purposes, plus tax. If the tax agent come and want to apply tax on this product, this is so complicated, he can't figure it out. What tax apply? And he says, if by any chance he figures out what this contract is doing, he's going to get a job with us immediately. We're going to employ him. If he can figure out what this contract is supposed to be doing, we're going to give him a job immediately, raise. So complexity in contract, hiding things, is something that we see. This is hallmark of clever bankers. But in reality, it's a deception. But they boost, you know, this macho, you know, we're clever. See how complicated we make it. So of course we see. But you don't understand. You are all going to sink. And you're going to take us with you because you are spreading systemic risk like a cancer, you know, cancer. Attack host body, attack itself. It's you know, cancer, it's your cell that turning against you and spreading throughout your system and making you shut down. So same. So you are giving us a type of a financial cancer through this complexity and these all other speculative activities. Now, there could be different types of gharar in reality, uncertainty. And not everyone is haram. Okay, so for example, you can have a minor one and major one. For example, minor one. If I buy banana from the market, do I have to peel it to look if it is good?
No.
So there is some element of uncertainty, but this is a tolerable one. So this is okay. Okay. So difference between riba and gharar is that sometimes some level of gharar is normal, minor one. However, no amount of riba is okay. Okay? This minor gharar is present. For instance, we go in a taxi. We know roughly how much is per kilometers, but we don't know how much at the end journey will be. Can we do